Hi, I'm Rob Boyd, an English photographer from the UK. I decided to create this podcast series talking to international photographers whose work I truly love. I realised I knew nothing about these amazing people apart from their names and their stunning work. So I created a set of hopefully entertaining questions that finds out who they are and what they love. Hi Lee, thanks for joining me. I really appreciate you being here, mate.
Excellent. Thanks for asking me.
No, absolutely. Appreciate you being here. If you can start with your name and your Instagram name, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, sure. So my name's Lee Marshall, and my Instagram name is Lee Marshall Photos.
Excellent stuff. And have you got a website?
Well, yes and no. At the moment, I've got a holding page, and it's been like that for a few months. And considering my profession is in web development, I don't really have any excuses. However, the address will be leemarshall.photography, and I promise it will be up and running soon.
Can't get better than that. Excellent. And where do you live?
I live in a small city 16 miles north of Cambridge called Ely.
Oh, and where are you from originally?
Well, I was actually born in Ely, so I'm an Ely boy. I've never really had the urge to move anywhere else, so Ely's pretty much got everything I need. It's quite central. It's close to London, where I used to work. I work at home now, and it's fairly close to Cambridge, so it kind of served my purpose, really. So it's all good.
Yeah, ticks all the boxes. Brilliant. So if I came and visited you, where would you take me to shoot?
So I'd probably get a couple of tickets and head back down to London. That's my usual stomping ground. Ely's a lovely place, but I find it hard to get inspired to shoot anywhere around. I suppose it's because I'm so familiar with the place. I just find it difficult. And I think photography is hard enough without having added complications. So, but on the other hand, if maybe I could take your lead, and if you came to Ely, you'd probably find some things that would catch my eye too.
Brilliant. So where you are now, are there any places to visit as a tourist?
Well, I suppose the obvious one is Cambridge. It's a 15-minute journey away. I do go to Cambridge every so often, but there's some great street photographs created by the likes of street photographers 6 Street Under and the 13th Second, so they sort of command that area. So it's really difficult to to come up to that kind of standard.
Yeah, well, that's understandable. So what's your favourite destination in the world?
I think it'd probably be Thailand. I've been there twice, but that was before I started to shoot street photography. But then looking back now, I can remember there were so many opportunities at the time that if I went back now, I'd probably, capture a lot more than I did. Rather than just the normal holiday snaps, I'd probably actually take a bit of time and get some nice shots. So yeah, Thailand would be my favourite destination.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Once you've picked up a camera again, it's amazing how many places you revisit, with a camera.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you start looking at detail and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Excellent. And where would you most like to visit in the world?
I'd probably have a couple of places actually. I'd really like to go to Tokyo. I think the main reason for that is that I've got moth-like tendencies, and I'm very attracted to light at night time. So that'd be the ideal place for me, really. And then the other place I'd really like to go is somewhere like Cuba. Obviously, seeing shots of Cuba, I just love the colours and characters. So yes, I'd like to go to either one of those or both.
Good choices. Yeah, definitely. Bit of a weird question. I've got lots of those. If you could time travel, where and when would you visit?
I would probably like to visit somewhere like London or New York around the 40s or 50s. There's a very kind of stylish period of time. People were always dressed well, even when they were out shopping. People were out shopping, they're all dressed up to the T's, nice hats, umbrellas, pipes, all that kind of thing. So that would be my kind of ideal scenario, really. I do like a nice hat to shoot.
Tell me a fun fact or a story about yourself.
One of my other creative outlets is I used to play drums. I used to play drums in a couple of bands when I was growing up, and my dream was to make it big, earn lots of money, obviously. That didn't happen. I got a mortgage and had children, and as for the money, well, that just kind of went. um, but yeah, but the fun fact was that in the days when I was in the bands, I managed to play with Oasis on their first tour after releasing their first album. So that was my big memory.
Your claim to fame. Excellent stuff.
My claim to fame, yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely brilliant. Another little random question. What's your favourite word?
My favourite word probably I couldn't repeat on this podcast, but a broadcast-friendly one I'd like to use now and again is kerfuffle. I think kerfuffle is a very British way of describing a situation that's very chaotic and extreme in its nature, but us Brits like to play everything down, so kerfuffle seems to be a good word.
It reminds me of Little Britain.
Yes, yeah, that's right, yeah, exactly.
That's excellent. Because it's an international podcast and I'm speaking to people all over the world, teach me a new word or a saying I might not know.
Okay, you may know it. I'm not sure, but I quite like the phrase "even a stop clock tells the right time twice a day," and I like that because it's that even something there's no real value can have its use at some point, which I kind of describe my photographic journey, really. Going out week after week, taking photos of no real value, but every so often something will click and make it worthwhile.
Excellent. No, that's brilliant. I didn't know that one at all, so that's really good. Mm-hmm. And talking to click, when did photography click for you? What moment did you realise you could take a good photo?
I suppose it was way back when all my friends started to get married, and around that time I bought myself a was it a Pentax P30T SLR camera, and that was when film was about £1.99 a roll, a bit unlike it is today. And then just for the pure fact that I had a camera, I was asked to shoot one of my friend's wedding. I said I could, but I could only do candid photos. I didn't want the pressure of all the kind of formal photographs. So we agreed that I would just go around taking candid photographs, and had a few rolls of Ilford HP5. And surprisingly, the shots looked pretty good. So they were really pleased. And so that's where I probably first began my photographic journey, I would say.
Yeah, good place to start. Excellent. Oh, that's great. So what's the favourite 3 photos you've taken and why do you like them?
I think the first one would be, I took a picture of a bus, a skateboarder and a man running. And I like that because I could see the scene kind of unfolding before me. It's one of those rare occasions when you think, if I just stay here, something may happen. And I was standing in front of this massive, great, colourful mural, and then I could see an old Route Master bus was approaching in the distance, and also I'd clocked an older man running from behind me. So I thought, well, maybe I could capture the two kind of crossing paths. And then as the third element came into play when there was a skateboarder coming through at the same time. So all those elements combine into one of my photos that I like the most. And then probably my second one would be, I was in London a few weeks ago, had a really unproductive day, and I thought I'd just head home. So I headed back to Green Park Tube Station along Piccadilly. And as I walked past Fortnum and Mason's, I noticed a shaft of sun streaming down on the restaurant just around the corner. So I decided to take a detour and just have a look what was going on. And as I walked down there, I noticed a man sitting on the windowsill. And as I got closer, lo and behold, it was Bill Nighy, famous British actor. I find it hard. I find it really hard. I really struggled to approach strangers in the street to ask for portraits. But for some reason, bizarrely, I asked him if I could take his portrait, and obviously he was a bit reluctant at first. But I think because I was so polite in the ask, he agreed to. So the day ended in a high. So that was the second one. And then the third one was a photograph I had a privilege of displaying in a curated by Mark Luke Grant at the Float Coffee Shop a few weeks ago. I decided to walk down Whitehall, and there was a noise coming from down there. So I decided to go down and see what was going on. It was pouring of rain, and I mean pouring of rain. And as I got into the middle of the crowd, suddenly there was the sun popped out from behind the clouds for a split second. So there's just a combination of pouring rain and and this big shaft of sunlight. And I managed to capture a lad with his umbrella up, and it had a wonderful sort of backlight ray of sunshine on the back of his umbrella. So that was another favourite of mine. So they're my three favourites.
Excellent. Yeah, I love it. Love it when that finally happens. When you get everything just come together at the right time.
And when all things align, it's very rare, but when it does, it's so pleasing.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. So what advice would you give a new photographer?
I would probably say that you just need to shoot, and then shoot some more. And you don't always necessarily have to look for bangers, as we call them, or really good shots. Just shoot everything you can, just to get practice in. And second bit of advice I'd probably say is just to ignore Instagram likes. They mean nothing. And then thirdly, probably join a photo group. You can meet some really good people with the same interests, and they can help and also inspire you. So that would be my advice.
Yeah, excellent. No, I mean, definitely with the community thing. I mean, we'd never be talking to all the people that we talk to if it wasn't for a group or Instagram or a meeting via Instagram or whatever.
And sometimes, quite often, street photography is quite a lonely process. So, to have somebody that you can hang out for half a day with while you have the morning to yourself is really a real relief. Sometimes, it's really good, and I would suggest anyone to do that. Really,
if you could photograph anyone in history, who would you shoot?
I'd probably pick somebody like Winston Churchill. I've heard that he was a really difficult person to photograph, so I think that the challenge would be good, and also it would just be a challenge. I think the challenge of challenges.
And what's your photography goals going forward?
Well, my goals would be obviously to get my website finished. That's the number one priority. And I'd like to get more comfortable in taking portraits on the street. It's kind of a passion that I've just started, really. Because I think if you go out and there's nothing much happening, kind of sort of candid wise, you can just pick up on taking some street photographs. So yeah, I'd like to get more comfortable, get more proficient in that, and just practice a bit more of that.
Well, thanks for being here, Lee. I really appreciate it, mate. I love your work. And it's nice when we do all meet up, and it's nice to get together and just in a big group. Especially we're lucky in London that way. When we do all get together, it's good experience. And I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, thanks for asking, and much appreciated.
No problem. You take care. Cheers.
Yeah, Angie. Thanks, Rob. Bye bye.